Hello, everypony. I am Critical Thought here, bringing you a new series about my thoughts on elements in the show, the fandom, and more. I like to call it Inside Critical's Cranium. Today's topic is going to be a really tough one. Are bronies ruining MLP for the target audience? Now, let me make it clear that I'm not trying to demonize bronies to any brony or anti-brony listening. Rather, I like to talk about some experiences of mine that made me question what other impacts the Brony fandom is having on the real world beyond their usual kind demeanor and charity work. So, let's dive in, shall we? Let me begin with a story that happened to me roughly a month ago. I was on my Twitter account as usual, scrolling through all the tweets from my favorite bronies, when I noticed something that the Brony retweet bot had retweeted. For those unfamiliar with this account, it's an automated Twitter account that instantly retweets any tweets on Twitter that mention the words Brony, Bronies, My Little Pony, or any major character from the show. However, it doesn't always retweet things from bronies. In this one instance, a suburban mother was ranting angrily in this tweet, accusing bronies for the lack of MLP merchandise in stock at her local Target that her daughter keeps asking for. She was frustrated that every time she took her daughter to the store to buy a My Little Pony toy, there was barely any on the shelves. Unlike other ignorant people on Twitter who just bash bronies for no other reason than they don't like them, I knew this woman had a very valid concern and was just in her anger. I do know that there are many cases where bronies go to their local Target, Walmart, or Toys R Us and buy up copious amounts of merchandise, often cleaning the store out within days. Although I never did go to the lengths that some other bronies have, mostly because I never had enough money, I myself have been guilty of going on these pony raids, as I like to call them. However, as of late, I've stopped doing this as frequently as I used to, but it's not because I've lost interest in collecting the toys. In fact, if anything, I wish I could have more of the toys. I'm proud of my pony collection and want to watch it grow. The main reason why I've stopped going on pony raids is, ironically, the exact same reason this woman was ranting about. The store is usually cleaned out. What little merchandise they do have is stuff that I either can't afford or is not interesting to me. To this day, I'm still looking for an Adagio Dazzling doll to complete my collection of the Sirens from Rainbow Rocks, and I've been searching for that for months. I have also been unable to find any of the new 2015 brushables with the scannable pseudo QR codes that are integrated with the new My Little Pony Android app. There's simply hardly anything there at my local Target. The only merchandise that's constantly in stock are the ones that no one is interested in buying, like the MLP sticker books or the MLP Pop customizable figures. I soon tweeted back to this woman that us bronies are having the same problem. We also cannot get our hands on the merchandise we want. I told her that I don't think bronies are to blame. I think it's the stores themselves. Think about it. Why do you think Nintendo's amiibos have gotten so popular? It's the same reason. The cool ones are being kept in limited print on purpose to keep demand high. The characters that everybody loves, such as Rosalina and Zero Suit Samus, are nowhere to be found on store shelves. Amiibos are not expensive nor time-consuming to produce, so why hasn't Nintendo met the demand? Because by withholding these products, Nintendo is taking advantage of addictive quirks in a huge percentage of the world's population. Basically, without getting too scientific, if your brain gets a taste of something that you enjoy, in this instance, let's just say a soda like my favorite, Dr. Pepper, and then all of a sudden you're forced to stop at a point where you are enjoying that Dr. Pepper the most, the withdrawal will make you want that Dr. Pepper more. This is why mobile games like Clash of Clans and Candy Crush are such huge money-making machines. The psychological need to keep enjoying these games often has people pulling out their wallets to buy microtransactions to avoid the withdrawal that these games impose upon them. This brings me back around to the problem with the MLP merchandise. I'm not sure if the culprit is on the manufacturing side, aka Hasbro, or on the retail side like Target, Walmart, etc. But the result is the same. I think the stock of MLP toys is being kept low purposefully because the show has become so popular, and people are the most interested in buying the merchandise. This may not raise the toys' monetary value like in the case of the amiibos, but it does raise the demand for them. So in this case, no, I would not say that bronies are ruining MLP for children. When it comes to the merchandise, I'd say the stores are ruining it for both bronies and children. But this isn't my only example I can bring to this case study. Let's look at some other instances. The autistic bronies and the dark side of the fandom. Yes, I'm going to touch on both of these. In fact, I even have a way to tie them together. Back when I first started being social with the fandom and going to local meetups with the strangers that would soon become my best friends, there was one Brony in our group that was not like the others. For his privacy and out of respect, I'm not going to refer to him by his real name. But for the sake of this video, let's just call him John. John, who was a very plump man in his late 20s, was an extremely flamboyant Brony and still is to this day in the fandom. When our little meetup group would go on mall excursions, he would stand out amongst the rest of us. Granted, I myself was a pretty showy Brony at this time too, being extremely proud to be in such a loving fandom, wearing my pony shirt, pony hoodie, and pony hat almost everywhere I went. However, John took it to a whole different level. He would usually wear 3 pony shirts on top of each other. I only found this out when he would claim it was too hot in the mall, only to take off 1 layer of pony shirt to reveal 2 more underneath it. He also carried around a We Love Fine pony backpack and a full-size Twilight Sparkle backpack along with 3 Build-A-Bear pony plushies, 1 under each arm and 1 on his shoulder. He also had the pony hoodie and the pony hat. He had a pony wallet, pony belt, pony shoes. About the only thing on him that was not pony was his pants. John would cause stares due to all of this on top of his lack of ability to control his voice and his filter about not just ponies, but about basically everything that ran through his mind, some of which was vulgar. This of course made the rest of us extremely uncomfortable to be with him in public. He would also post meetup ideas that usually equated to being sort of the MLP version of Jehovah's Witness, where the sole purpose of the meetup was to go to a public place, usually the Taco Bell near his house, and shove ponies into the faces of complete strangers trying to convert them into the herd. As you may have guessed, John is autistic. Now, I don't have anything against autistic people, but I also refuse to sacrifice my comfort for their condition. However, there was one thing about John that was absolutely inexcusable, and ultimately led to the very tough but necessary decision to ban him from all of our future meetups. When John would encounter little girls at the mall who happened to be wearing a pony shirt or carrying a pony plush of their own, he would walk up to them and start showing them all of his favorite clop on his tablet. I could get into a deeper debate about this, but that's not necessary to drive this point home. This was where we drew the line, and as of now, John has no affiliation with our local meetup group anymore. Like I said, it wasn't a decision we took lightly, as our fandom preaches love and acceptance for all people, and deep down in our hearts, we still want to extend these things to John. But showing clop to minors in public was a crime we couldn't justify. So, what about bronies like John? Are the autistic bronies that are overly flamboyant and sometimes even inappropriate in their actions the ones ruining MLP for children? Well, yes and no. The answer is a little bit complicated. On one hand, yes, I can see how the actions of someone like John would drive a child fan of the show to ultimately despise it, or perhaps even be traumatized by it. But on the other hand, if we took away John's instances of sharing clop with minors, which I do believe is an extreme and not representative of all autistic bronies, I can in fact see autistic bronies actually enriching the show for children. Autistic people are prone to become more attached and obsessive than most people. While some see this as a bad thing, and in some cases it can be, I, on the other hand, see it as a good thing. I imagine there are many autistic bronies who are just as obsessed with the show as John was, who could actually make a lot of little girls happy with their shared love of the show. They could have someone to talk with about their favorite characters and stories, and it would help the kids see that your gender shouldn't define what you like. Of course, this role can be filled by any brony, but I think the autistic ones may have a stronger connection to the target audience, because I think that the little girls do in fact enjoy the show more than we bronies do. So retracing my steps for a second, I'd like to talk about the final thing that might come into a discussion about bronies and their impact on the enjoyment of the show for children. The dark side of the fandom that includes porn and gore. Some bronies will argue that these things are kept out of the hands of children on their own dedicated sites locked behind filters and are not a problem. But I disagree. Search the name of almost any pony in Google Images, even with the safe filter on, and you'll usually get related searches or even original search results that are of pornographic or gore images of ponies. This admittedly is a problem. A little over a year ago, a project was started in the Brony community that aimed to clean up general search results of MLP and its characters to remove the porn and gore. I backed those involved with the project fully, but their efforts have been almost all for naught. Such images still arise on basic search engines like Google or Bing. So are the Brony artists who create this content ruining the show for its younger fans? While I don't think there's any question that in modern society these images do negatively affect the minds of young people, I don't think that the Bronies are at fault here either. If they have a creative drive to create My Little Pony porn or gore pictures in fiction, they should go for it. It's their art and nobody should infringe on their creativity. However, there are those that need to be held accountable though. The search engines and the parents of those children. The search engines need to do a far better job at filtering content, and the parents of young My Little Pony fans need to monitor their kids' activities online. I know that the parents these days have it stressful with life always on the go and feel like they don't have time to watch their kids. I get it. But these things are important if you love your children. You need to make the time to nurture their minds just as you do to bathe them, dress them, feed them, and send them off to school. If your little girl accidentally stumbles upon a picture of Princess Luna with her legs spread wide open, you need to be there for her as a parent and try to put things into context for her. Also, don't blame the Bronies for the content existing or jump to the conclusion that all Bronies enjoy it either. There's a dark side to every fandom, and you'll just have to accept that some people enjoy creating these things, even if you don't enjoy seeing them. I hate to try to tell you how to be a parent, as I know it's not my place since I have no kids of my own, but I'm just trying to help out all you parents out there. So, do I think Bronies are ruining MLP for kids? I'd say no. Granted, things Bronies have said and done may hold some negative consequences for the little ones, but I don't think it's really their fault. The Bronies are just expressing their love for a really well-made show in a variety of ways. I like to know what you all think about Bronies and how they impact the younger fans of the show. Do you think Bronies are helping the little tykes to enjoy the show more, or are they taking the fun that the show brings away from them? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, I'm Critical Thought, and I'll see you all in my next video. Never stop thinking critically.